Grass Knot takes care of Walrus, and it's just the Kentucky Fried Chicken. Bird of Death, the opponent should be reaching for that top left, because what you're about to witness is straight up first degree murder. Hi Talonflame, bye Talonflame, GG's and thanks for playing. So, welcome back to the home of Shadow Pokemon. Today we have an absolutely insane shoutcast from one of our members here on YouTube, Ben, aka Trixxybella. You already know that we like no bait on this channel, and he is running a team with fucking nukes everywhere. Holy shit. We've got Cradily in the lead, Grass Knot and Stone Edge both hit like a truck. Then, if that's not crazy enough, we've got the two Shadow Apexmon in the back. And to be honest, what more do I need to say? Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game one, we see Sir Lancelot in the lead, aka Surfetched. Pretty dreadful for Cradily. The opponent, through the close combat at a Ho-Oh Say Switch and then dipped out into the Bear Trap. The Bear Trap would not appreciate that Sacred Fire. We get the first shield. Trixie looking to shield the Rock Slide, which is double super effective. The unfortunate thing is we are going to get outpaced to the second Sacred Fire. So Trixie on the charge move priority fires off the Brave Bird, and it is now all shields down. Despite us being super healthy, the double super effective Rock Slide takes care of Ho-Oh. We are now going to come back in to Cradily. We're going to look to fire off the Grass Knot. Grass Knot will not knock out the Bear Trap. It's only neutral, but we should get a nice Bullet Seed farm down. The opponent is looking to go for the Earthquake. Both moves are neutral, but the big fat Cradily tanks that on the chin. They now bring out Surfetched, not wanting to get farmed down. We bank a boatload of energy, pivot out into Lugia. The opponent is running Leaf Blade as a second move. There's no Night Slash. Lugia can farm all the way down, and it's time to nuke something in the back. The opponent fires off one more Leaf Blade before going down. The Bear Trap is low. They bring it back out. Trixie commits to the farm down, and that final Pokemon is Walrus. Walrus is unshielded, and it's going to be high Wall Rain by Wall Rain. GG's and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle, we see a pretty tricky lead for any grass type. Snarl, Alola Muck. However, Cradily does have access to that rock type coverage, and Stone Edge gets this thing down into the yellow. They farm to 6. This could be a trash can. Ben is opting for the no shield, and holy smokes, they full send the can. Ben continuing to overfarm. We've got a boatload of energy, but we are left deep in the red. We shield up the Dark Pulse. We're now at 100 energy, and we are going to fire off the resisted Grass Knot. Does the opponent want to shield? Yes, they do. We're one Bullet Seed away from the Stone Edge, but Ben is settling for one more Grass Knot. It is resisted, but we managed to snipe and farm down with Lugia. Let's see what the opponent has lurking in the back. The opponent comes in to the Penguin Empoleon. They do resist absolutely everything from Lugia, but my god, I imagine Aeroblast is going to do massive damage. We saw it nuke the absolute life out of that Wall Rain. Trixie overfarms, no baiting, going straight for the Aeroblast, and the opponent lets it go, and they're now left on minimal HP. But they do have a charge move, so tricky decision to make. If we come in to Cradily, we could get farmed down, but the opponent looks like they're spamming out the charge move. Cradily soaks the damage, and it's now a one-shielded Apex Shadow Ho-Oh versus that final Pokemon, and it is one of the bulkiest mon in the league. The opponent throws an absolute potato time, and we sneak a full Incinerate, and they go for the resisted Moonblast. We are now going to return fire with the Sacred Fire. Does Cresselia want to shield the first move? They do not, and holy crap. Cresselia out here, not looking particularly bulky. It gets near one shot. We can safely shield up the next Moonblast, and we're not even going to need to throw a charge move. Cresselia is going to get farmed all the way down, and it looks like that's the way to deal with it. Bulky mon, you love to see it. Moving on to the next battle, we see Swampert in the lead. Absolutely beautiful. For our Cradily, they go for the neutral Hydro Cannon, look to dip into Venusaur, and we are going to look to chip and dip with the Stone Edge. Stone Edge gets them into the yellow. Ben now looks to catch the double resisted Frenzy Plant on his Ho-Oh. Was he successful? Yes, he was. Frenzy Plant, an absolutely busted move. But despite that, Ho-Oh tanks it really well. The opponent now comes in to Swampert, and they are going to need to respect the Brave Bird. Brave Bird does get a shield. The opponent then returns fire with a Hydro Cannon. We are going to shield for the first time. We're now in the 1-to-1 shield, and we are already at the next Brave Bird. Does the opponent want to commit both shields? Yes, they do. They must be weak to fire. In the back, is Ben going to go all in on his Ho-Oh? He is not. Hydro Cannon takes us out. Swampert is unshielded. They need to get out of there ASAP as Cradily is on the hunt. And holy smokes, this Charizard in the back. And you're about to witness yet another first degree murder. Stone Edge absolutely one-shots. We pivot out into Lugia. And this game is absolutely over. You can see, despite being a shadow, Lugia is super bulky. Hydro Cannon just tickles. Ben opting to save a shield for Season 14. We show no respect to the Hydro Cannon. Go for the no bubble sky attack. And that is all she wrote. GG's and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle. We see another victim for the serial killer Cradily. Swampert in the lead. The opponent goes for the chip. And I imagine they are going to dip. And they come in to Harry Armor. Holy smokes. I love Harry Armor. You love to see it. Grass Knot does massive damage. We now pivot out into Lugia. The only coverage move they have is Heavy Slam. Ben opting to shield, keep his Lugia super healthy and commit to the Dragon Tail farm down. We now have residual energy. Good to go. And we are almost at full health. The opponent's last Pokemon is Giratina. We full send the Aeroblast. Holy smokes, what is going on? Giratina gets near one shot by a neutral move. We shield it up, out comes Swampert, and I don't really know what to say. These Ultra League battles are pretty crazy. Swampert looking to fight it out. They fire off the Hydro Cannon. Lugia tanks it on the chin, returns fire with the Sky Attack. There's the first shield. A pivot into Cradily. Grass Knot will be getting the final shield. They can't afford to overfarm as these Bullet Seeds are double super effective. The opponent goes for the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon does take care of Cradily. We then bring back out Lugia. The opponent is going to fire off the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon will be taking care of Lugia, but this Swampert is so low that 2 Incinerates is going to be all she wrote. GG's and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle, we see another meta bulky monster in the lead. The basic bitch mon of choice, Cresselia. Ben farms up some energy, catches the Moonblast on his Lugia. And the opponent then pivots out into Swampert. We've seen this matchup play out. Hydro Cannon just tickles. We can now overfarm. Does Ben commit to the Aeroblast? It looks like he is committing. We are going to have to shield up the second Hydro Cannon. We're now at the Aeroblast. Swampert is obviously going to commit a shield. So we go for the Sky Attack. Sky Attack does draw a shield. We're already at Sky Attack. Number 2, Sky Attack. Not the best move, but this is a Shadow Lugia. Sky Attack near one shot. Now Swampert is in perfect farm down range for Cradily. Ben lets his Lugia go down. And I imagine we're going to come in to King Cradily, take the extra Bullet Seed. The opponent doesn't want to get farmed down. They pivot back out into Cresselia and we go straight for the Stone Edge. Stone Edge does some pretty big damage to Cresselia. Cradily super bulky. They go for a Moonblast and we're still in the green. Ben now going for the Grass Knot. Grass Knot won't knock out, but will leave Cresselia super low. We're already at the next Grass Knot. The opponent has a tough decision to make. Do they want to commit to the Cresselia? Yes, they do. Cresselia returning fire with the Moonblast and Ben not shielding. We tank it. We are now going to look to snipe with Ho-Oh. They do make one final move. This isn't enough for a future sight. So we actually let it go, and it's just a Grass Knot. They bring back out Swampert. Swampert gets farmed down, and the final Pokemon is Obstagoon, and Obstagoon is not going to appreciate this Sacred Fire. Sacred Fire does huge damage. We get the attack full. The opponent can throw whatever they like, as this game is once again over. They go for an Obstruct. We're at the Brave Bird. We don't need to bubble. High Obstagoon, by Obstagoon. GG's, and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle, we see the Walrus in the lead, a pretty big core breaker, as Walrus does hit both Cradily and Lugia for super effective. Ben shields up the Icicle Sphere and returns fire with the harder hitting Stone Edge. Does the opponent respect the damage? Yes, they do. We are going to get outpaced to the next charge move, so Ben opts to catch it on Lugia. Lugia tanks that super effective Icicle Sphere pretty well. However, the second will be threatening the knockout, so Ben does commit his final shield. The opponent then pivots out into a Mewtwo. Holy smokes, the spice. Mewtwo goes straight for resisted Side Strike. Mewtwo with a 1 million attack stat still doesn't knock out. Lugia does survive, returns fire with the Sky Attack, and the opponent now commits the final shield. It's all shields down, and this Mewtwo is looking pretty scary. We come back into Cradily. We throw one Bullet Seed and make a great catch onto Ho-Oh, but Ho-Oh isn't going to appreciate this. Side Strike, does massive damage. Can we reach the Brave Bird? Yes, we can. But we lose CMP. Mewtwo pretty much wins all charge move priorities. Unless you're Callum on toast, run and attack Deoxys, but I don't think any madman other than my boy Callum runs that back out. Comes the Walrus, Grass Knot, takes care of Walrein. What is that final Pokemon? They bring back in Mewtwo. It gets farmed down, and the final Pokemon is Swampert. High Swampert, by Swampert. From a really tricky spot, King Cradilly closes strong. Moving on to the next battle. We see Sylveon in the lead. Evidently, this opponent didn't get the memo that Charm is nerfed. Cradily goes straight for the Stone Edge, and that does huge damage. The opponent now pivots out into Escavalier, and Escavalier is about to get cooked. Ho-Oh resists everything that Escavalier normally runs. Drill Run and Mega Horn are both resisted. We commit to the Incinerate farm down, and that final Pokemon is Walrus. We're going straight for the Brave Bird. Does Walrein want to shield? Yes, they do. They are going to commit to the Powder Snow farm down, but not before Ben makes one more charge move. We fire off the Sacred Fire. Sacred Fire draws the final shield. The opponent does get the attack full as well. We come back into Cradily. We've still got 2 shields, so we might as well shield up the Icicle Sphere. We are almost at the Stone Edge. We hit the Stone Edge. We lose CMP, so Ben is going to commit his final shield. The opponent is unable to switch out. We go for the Stone Edge. Stone Edge returns Walrein to its Pokeball, and we pivot now into Lugia. We've just got to make a Sky Attack, and this game will be over. The opponent can throw whatever they like. Moonblast doesn't knock out. We make the Sky Attack, and that's going to be another G to the G. Moving on to the next battle. We see the battle of the Grass types. Due to our Rock typing, we do take neutral from Grass, so stay in school, kids. Learn to count. We pivot out into Lugia to catch the resisted Frenzy Plant. The opponent throws a couple of Vine Whips, then pivot out into Dragonite. Holy smokes, that is questionable. These non-stab Dragon Tails are ripping through this Dragonite. It looks like Ben is opting to fight for switch. Can we commit to the Dragon Tail farm down? No, we cannot on 1 HP. And a Dream Dragonite does make the final Dragon Claw. We have no shields, but we are going to align our Ho-Oh with Venusaur. We go straight for the Aeroblast. Venusaur commits its first shield. Can we make the Sky Attack? We die with the move. Venusaur has residual energy. Good to go. Ben comes in to Ho-Oh. We throw one Incinerate. Look to catch the Sludge Bomb. The opponent simul swaps, and this Swampert is in danger. The opponent commits their final shield because Grass Knot, as we've seen time and time again, is going to obliterate them. We are going to outpace them to the next Grass Knot. Swampert gets vanquished. Back to its Pokeball. We do take neutral from Frenzy Plant, but Frenzy Plant doesn't knock out. The opponent is going to look to farm down. Can Cradily make the Stone Edge? Who was worried? Stone Edge is going to vanquish Venusaur, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle, we lead Cradily into Talonflame. Grass, not usually a fan of fire. However, Cradily is the one exception. We throw a couple of Bullet Seeds, pivot out into Lugia, and the opponent answers with Trevenant. We are looking in a pretty tricky spot. We correctly shield up a Shadow Ball, return fire with a Sky Attack. The opponent does shield it up, but Lugia outpaces to the second Sky Attack. The opponent chooses to commit all shields. If I was Ben, I'd just allow Lugia to go down and take shield advantage. That is exactly what he does. The opponent is energy dry, so I wonder if 3 Incinerates are going to be enough to knock out. The opponent throws just a Seed Bomb. They didn't even commit to the Shadow Ball. An easy no shield decision for Ben. We do tank the Seed Bomb, no problem whatsoever, and the final Pokemon is Walrus. Sacred Fire does huge damage. We now pivot out into Cradily. The opponent didn't switch. Grass Knot will be vanquishing Walrein back to its Pokeball, and you're about to witness yet another first degree murder. We're at the Stone Edge. We can safely shield up whatever they throw. The opponent goes for a Flame Charge, but that isn't going to save you, Talonflame. Stone Edge, high Talonflame, by Talonflame, get fucking wrecked. GG's, and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle, we see another Sylveon in the lead. Once again, Ben goes straight for the Stone Edge. Let's see if the opponent wants to shield. They do not. We now pivot out into Lugia. The opponent throws a couple more charms and switch out into Trevenant. Trevenant should have an advantageous matchup, but as we saw in the last battle, Lugia puts in so much work. The opponent farms up to what could be a Shadow Ball. Ben correctly shields up the Shadow Ball. This does mean we are going to outpace to the second Sky attack. Does the opponent want to go all shields down? Yes, they do. Lugia running out of HP. We was in danger of getting farmed down, but the opponent gets scared and fire off the Seed Bomb. This should mean Ho-Oh can commit to the Incinerate farm down. We wait out our time. We bring in Ho-Oh. The opponent, not wanting to get farmed down, switches out into Swampert, and another beautiful catch. Stay in school, kids. Learn to count. I say it time and time again. You need to be counting fast moves, and Ben's counting was immaculate. As this Swampert is switch locked, we can easily shield up the next Hydro Cannon, knock him out with a Grass Knot, and then Ho-Oh is primed to sweep. The opponent can Charm us down or Shadow Claw us down. It doesn't really matter because Ho-Oh is about to go off. They bring back out the Charmer. Ben has the Brave Bird locked and loaded. Brave Bird hits super hard. Sylveon has minimal HP. That's enough to knock out, and one Incinerate takes that game. Moving on to the next one. We see Steelix in the lead due to the ground, still typing grass, hits for neutral. Ben going straight for the Grass Knot. Grass Knot, even though we're Shadow, doesn't do too much because this Steelix is super thick. The opponent returns fire with the Psychic Fangs, but due to Steelix's bulk, you can see their attack stat is almost non-existent. We are going to return fire with one more Grass Knot. This Grass Knot does get them into the red. Whatever they throw still won't knock out, even if they go for a crunch. They just go for another Psychic Fangs. Cradily shrugs it off. We switch out into Ho-Oh, looking for the snipe. The opponent pivots into Swampert, and we're going straight for the Brave Bird. Does Swampert want to commit a shield? Yes, they do. We sneak and Incinerate, however, as Swampert only takes 4 mud shots to the second Hydro Cannon. We are still going to get outpaced by 2 turns to the next move. It looks like Ben is looking to get all shields down as he commits his final shield on the Hydro Cannon. Let's see if Swampert falls into the trap of committing all in. We go for the Brave Bird. Swampert does commit its last shield, so it looks like Lugia is looking prime to sweep. Hydro Cannon will be taking care of Ho-Oh. Cradily has a small amount of residual energy, but Swampert would win the race to the next charge move. So we pivot out into Lugia. Hydro Cannon doesn't do too much damage, but we are going to need to throw a charge move at this Swampert. The opponent pivots out into Steelix. They fire off a resisted Psychic Fangs that does lower our defense, and we are switch locked. The opponent brings back out Swampert. We throw one more Dragon Tail and the Sky attack. What is that final Pokemon? Surely there's no win in this game. The final Pokemon is a Razor Leaf Ludicolo. We need to commit to the Aeroblast. Sky attack is super effective. However, Ludicolo is pretty fit. Can they Razor Leaf us down? Yes, they can. They are on minimal HP. Do we get the Bullet Seed farm down? No, we don't. On 1 HP and a Dream, the really spicy Ludicolo manages to steal that win. GG's and thanks for playing. So those were the battles from Ben. What an incredibly fun team. It was nukes galore, left, right and centre. Incredible showcase, really fun to shoutcast. So enjoying the content, smash that like button if you're new. Consider subscribing if you like your battles featured on the channel. Link to my battle submission form is down below. I'd just like to say thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.